I'm going to tell you a personal story. It's something that I'm actually doing right now for my grandma. She, just like lots of folks who save diligently for their whole lives, accumulate large IRA or retirement account balances. And what comes with that is a massive tax bill due to something called required minimum distributions, or RMDs. Most people, including most financial advisors, just assume that that is a problem that you have to accept and there's no way around it. They might look at something like Roth conversions, but when you see just how large the upfront tax bill can be, it usually doesn't make sense to even do the Roth conversions. But what if I told you you could get all of the benefits of Roth conversions, tax-free growth, no more RMDs, and a tax-free inheritance for your kids, all without that upfront tax bill? My name's Samuel Harnish, and I'm the founder of Quantitative Financial Strategies. Today, I'm going to break down just how painful RMDs can be and the exact strategy I'm using for my family, for my grandma, to perform tax-free Roth conversions. It's the kind of thing that can literally save you tens of millions of dollars of taxes over your lifetime. All right, so let's start with a quick refresher on what RMDs actually are. Once you hit a certain age, the IRS forces you to take distributions from your IRAs and 401ks, and every dollar that you pull out is treated as ordinary income, just the same as it would have been if you had earned that money from a paycheck. Now, for most people, this isn't actually a big deal, but when you're looking at higher net worth, people with millions of dollars in retirement accounts, this can turn into a financial nightmare waiting to happen. And so we're going to jump into an example profile that I keep coming across, which is people in their early 60s that have already saved $4 million across their retirement accounts. Their investments are growing at around 8%. And what that looks like, this doesn't even include, this assumes you've stopped working, right? And you're not adding more to your IRA balance. The only additions are coming from the growth. Well, by the time you get to 73, which is when RMDs start for some people, you've got an over $9 million IRA account balance. So a lot of people, they go, oh, I'll put this off and deal with it later. How bad can it be? Because they're looking at their balance today. We have to project forward always what we expect the account to be when the RMD age actually comes. And the way that it actually works is there is this RMD divisor, which is what you're going to divide your account value by. That's how you're going to get the annual amount you have to take out from your retirement account. So in this example, this person is going to have over $350,000 of forced distributions from their retirement account at age 73. Now, it's going to keep going up for two reasons. One, the divisor goes down each year, so we're starting at 26.5. And the other reason is the account is still growing. So as long as the amount, the RMD that you're forced to take out is smaller than the growth of the account, then you're getting hit with a double whammy because the divisor drops and the account value is still growing. So if we look through time, in this person's 70s, it's approaching $500,000, then it crosses $500,000 in forced income. If you continue to live into your 80s, you're gonna hit $1 million in forced distributions of taxable income from your retirement account. And if you live into your 90s, this is where it really starts to accelerate. If you were fortunate enough to live all the way to 100 years old, you would have forced income of over 1.6 million due to RMDs. And what most people I'm talking to also have going on is they have a taxable investment account as well. So let's say they have $5 million in their brokerage account, and that's growing at around 8% a year. I usually see somewhere around 4% in taxable income being generated from the taxable account. So you got to include that in the taxable income that someone's paying each year. And so for this example, I've said they're not even working, they're retired. So the only taxable income so far is the taxable income coming off of their portfolio that they're living off of. Once they reach the age that they start taking Social Security, that kicks in as well. And so it's at age 73, you can see their total taxable income takes that real big jump because now it's not only income coming from the portfolio plus Social Security kicks in here. Now RMDs are kicking in, and you can see how someone's total taxable income gets really high really fast. And so if we're looking at it, you don't want to have over $1 million, over $2 million, over $3 million of taxable income being forced on you every year, because your tax bill, and since most people I work with are in California, I did it as a a federal and California tax, what you would expect, this is all money that you are losing each year to taxes because of the tax inefficiency of your investment account and the RMDs that are being forced on you. And if we look at that cumulatively, it adds up. It gets real big. So the longer you live, the larger and larger your tax bill is. Using that example we were looking at, what would the dollar amount RMDs be? Well, the first ones start at just under 400,000, but every single year the RMD amount is increasing. So the longer you live, the larger the amount of forced income on you, and therefore the bigger tax bill. So what would the cumulative dollar amounts being forced out on you? Well, it, again, depends on how long you live. It might be 5 million, 10 million, 15 million. If you start living real long, you're getting over 20, over 25 million of income pushed out on you. And so what is the cumulative tax bill for someone like this? Once those RMDs kick in, it starts to get real painful. And this is why I'm saying you're gonna pay tens of millions in taxes over the course of your life if you do nothing about this RMD problem. So depending on how long you live, you could be getting 5 million, 10 million, 15 million. If you live into your late 90s, we're talking over 20 million in cumulative taxes that you're forced to pay because you didn't do anything about this RMD problem. But I'm gonna show you what I'm doing for my grandma and what I'm doing for other clients as well of how we make this go to zero. Instead of tens of millions in taxes, we're planning and structuring in a way to make this not even happen. So the common advice that you'll hear from people is to do something called a Roth conversion. And all that means is move money from your IRA, your retirement account balance, over into a Roth. Once assets are in a Roth, they compound without taxes and there are no RMDs. Your entire life, you can keep money in a Roth if you choose and just keep compounding it. You also get another 10 years where after you've passed away and you pass the Roth on to your heirs, they can let it grow tax-free for another 10 years before they pull out the proceeds. So it's a much, much better account. The only problem is to do that conversion, you recognize the income and you have to pay taxes on it. So what most Roth conversion simulators will show is there's sort of this J-curve phenomena, for lack of a better term, where you take an upfront tax hit. So your net worth is lower than it would have been if you hadn't done it. Then you need to live long enough that it comes back around and there's a break-even point that you are better off from doing the Roth conversion. Now, you've introduced uncertainty there in longevity risk, I guess is what you would call it. If you don't live long enough, then that was a bad financial decision. And generally speaking, we want what we call positive carry trades or financial decisions where we get more cash up front for the time value of money to invest. This is doing the opposite. Cash is leaving because you're losing it to taxes. So you have a smaller base to compound on, but then hopefully you're able to reach that crossover point and your net worth is actually higher than it would have been. We don't play that game. And this is precisely what we specialize in at QFS. We don't just accept the standard approach that most financial advisors out there are doing. My background working at PIMCO and working at a $1 billion family office taught me to look for strategies that most advisors don't even know exist. If you have a multi-million-dollar IRA and are worried about this exact problem, I want you to know that there's a better way out there and a solution for that problem. Now, we can't work with everyone, but for those with sufficiently high net worths where this is a real problem, I'd encourage you to reach out after this video and we'll take a look at your exact situation and build the model for how we would solve that problem for you. Now, let me show you the solution that I'm implementing for my own grandma. Okay, so maybe you've seen in my other videos where I'm talking about our tax-aware hedge fund allocations. And what those do is just like tax loss harvesting in a direct index or long-short tax-aware SMA, they're going to perform tax loss harvesting. They're just able to get it classified as an ordinary loss, not a capital loss. Once you have an ordinary loss, that can then be paired with ordinary income. Well, what creates ordinary income, like what we were just talking about? A Roth conversion. When you convert dollars from your retirement accounts into your Roth, that's ordinary income. If you have tax-aware hedge fund allocations in your brokerage account that are creating a deduction, you can now net those two against each other, be tax neutral, and start chipping away at your large IRA balance. Now, so if we go back to what we were looking at, someone had a $4 million IRA balance at 62. They've also got this $5 million taxable account. Now, the first thing I would do is I'm going to shut off the taxable income that's right here that before was 200,000. That's super standard from the portfolios that I review. People are doing things like taxable bonds, or if you think you're so smart doing municipal bonds, your yield is much lower, and so it's an opportunity cost all the same. So with that income gone, taxes are going to be lower. Oh, and I guess I should say, you just used real estate is like the simplest way to do it. You can make the rental income on the real estate tax-free. If you know what you're doing, it shouldn't be hard to make income to live off of that you're not paying taxes on. The tax law allows us to do that. Now what's different is I've inserted this tax-aware hedge fund deduction, and on a $5 million account, it's not even hard to get to a $500,000 annual ordinary income deduction, which then I've mapped. We're going to do a Roth conversion equal to that amount in those early years until their Social Security of $80,000 kicks in. Then I'm only going to convert $420,000 a year, because then I'm still tax neutral every single year. And so their taxes from age 62 to when their Social Security starts, they're going to show no taxable income. Once Social Security starts, we're just going to convert less. They're still going to show no taxable income. RMDs start at this age, so I'm going to stop doing my Roth conversions. This is a hypothetical. It's different for every model I build for everyone. I'm just trying to simplify it. But you still have the hedge fund deduction going every single year. And somehow you have no taxable income all the way through your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, all the way to age 100. You show no taxable income. So naturally, what's your tax bill? Well, it's zero. So let's look at how that works. You have the same IRA start balance. You have the same $320,000 or 8% growth, but the actual value in your IRA from 62 to 63, it actually decreased. And the reason for that is we did a 500,000 Roth conversion. So you would subtract the growth from the conversion, and that's how you get the change in account value. So we're chunking over 500,000 a year and then eventually 420,000 a year. Look at what's happening to this retirement account balance. It's dropping substantially. And what do you know? By the time you hit RMD age, the account's not even empty. It's still at 1 million, but what is your forced distribution going to be? It's going to be less than 40,000 because it's on this much smaller asset base. And so you still have forced distributions that are increasing through time, but critically, it never gets above 200,000. And if you recall, we still have our $500,000 deduction that we're getting every single year from our tax-aware hedge funds. So this distribution is fully shielded from taxes. And just to flip it back to the previous example we were looking at, where you didn't have this plan in place, your account grew to over 9 million. These are the dollar amounts on your forced distributions that you're going to be hit with. So what we're doing, I've oversimplified it to make it easier to understand, completely solved your RMD tax problem, but it gets better. So what were we doing with those Roth conversions? Where did it go? It went here into your Roth IRA balance that didn't previously exist, but here it is. So we started with 500,000. It's, I'm assuming, growing at 8%, which is an underestimate based on what I do for most people. We tend to tilt the Roth IRAs towards more things like private equity to compound them even faster. But for the sake of this exercise, we said we're going to convert over 500,000. It's growing at 8%. That's how we're getting this Roth IRA balance. Basically, dollars growth that would have occurred in the IRA and or been lost to taxes on the distributions are making their way into a Roth IRA for you. And that Roth IRA, even though we stopped the Roth conversions at age 73, it keeps compounding with no taxes at 8% a year. Now, depending on how long you live, this is going to be an absurdly large Roth IRA. If you live into your late 70s, you live into your 80s, you live into your 90s, that's where it starts to get crazy. This is compounding without taxes. This is why structure and tax efficiency beats everything else. It's way, way more impactful than the people that, they charge lower fees, or they think that they're better at stock picking, or they, you name it. It doesn't matter. Nothing is more efficient and has a better chance of producing outsized results than structure and tax efficiency. And so at any point along this timeline, you can pull out this dollar amount. Let's say you reach whatever the age this is. Let's say 19 million. You could pull out that full 19 million and there's no taxes on it because it's in a Roth IRA. Alternatively, you could pull some out, you could pull none out, and you could leave it to your kids. Kids always want to inherit Roth IRAs because regular retirement balances, all of that is going to be ordinary income tax to them when they try to pull it out. A Roth IRA, if they go to pull it out, they inherit a $19 million Roth, they can pull it all out tax-free, or even better, they can let it keep investing and grow for another 10 years. You know, if I go 10 years from now, let's say that they're going to invest it in a way where it grows at 8%, that's where you'd be looking at this $36 million Roth IRA balance. Then the kids can pull it out completely tax-free. So I hope you can see that this isn't just tax savings in any given year for you currently. It's huge tax savings for you over your lifetime in the future. And then if you want to include the additional benefit of actually passing Roth IRAs to your heirs, the multi-generational wealth calculation of value add here gets astronomical. And the reality is this was a $9 million portfolio. This kinds of stuff, not only does it not work for smaller account sizes, you're not even eligible to be doing these things. And so while the complexity picks up at higher net worth levels, the opportunities do as well. And most advisors that you talk to won't tell you about this approach because they don't even know what this is. And that's why I started QFS. I wanted to bring this level of sophistication in investment and tax planning to people that don't have $1 billion. I guarantee you family offices have already been doing these kinds of things. We're just able to bring it to much lower net worth minimum requirement levels. So someone like my grandma's not a billionaire, but she still has these large tax problems that so many people out there do that come along with like doing the quote unquote right thing and saving for retirement. It creates this other huge problem that you then have to deal with. And so if you're someone that this might be a good fit for, and you want to see how doing tax-free Roth conversions, how much that could save you over your lifetime, then I'd really encourage you to take the next step. There is a link in the description that you can click and you can book a call with me. We're going to sit down and go through the specifics of your situation, figure out what would make the most sense, a custom solution built just for you. I promise you won't regret it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to learn more about the advanced tax planning strategies that we're doing, and I'll see you in the next video.